Nos anos 20, os americanos estavam aproveitando os frutos de uma nova prosperidade. A maior nação industrial passou por um crescimento pós-guerra. Para quem tinha dinheiro, foi uma época de enriquecer depressa. Acreditando que só poderiam ganhar 1 milhão de americanos, aplicou na Bolsa de Valores. Em apenas 4 anos, suas cotas subiram 400%.
It was rank speculation. There were going to be 2 chickens in every pot. Everybody was going to have 2 automobiles. And everybody and his uncle would be calling me up buying stocks. They never asked what price they were going to pay. You just bought them and that was all.
Então, na manhã do dia 24 de outubro de 1929, aconteceu o inesperado.
All of a sudden, these orders started pouring and everything was sell. It was just down, down, down. The market kept going down.
The tremendous crowds which you see gathered outside the stock exchange are due to the greatest crash in the history of the New York Stock Exchange in market prices.
Investidores que vinham contando os lucros viram-se mergulhando numa dívida de verdade. Mensageiros como Bill Bailey eram enviados de casa em casa para dar as más notícias.
The people would get the telegram, open it up, and go into a state of shock. Most of the telegrams said the same. The things are bad. We need more money to hold up your interest. Give us more money or else you're kaput. Then come back an hour later saying you better hurry. We're going under. And it was the same person getting telegrams left and right until finally they just shut the door because they knew what it was. And it was shortly after that that we found out that people were jumping out windows, going bananas, trying to reconcile their differences, figuring, and that was the best way to go, you know, head first.
A queda da bolsa afetou as pessoas bem além de Wall Street. As maiores vítimas não foram os ricos, mas os trabalhadores do mundo todo. O capitalismo tinha prometido progresso e prosperidade para todos. Ao invés disso, causou desemprego em massa e uma fila de mendigos. Das ruínas surgiu um novo pedido de ação. No decorrer dos anos 30, as pessoas pressionaram seus líderes para recuperar seus empregos. 1929. Fome e desespero.
Unemployment getting worse every day. Nothing to eat, no place to sleep. All night long, folks walking the street. Doggone, the panic is on.
Americanos como Bill Bailey caíram numa curva descendente viciosa.
I couldn't find a job. I'd get out and maybe hustle 15 places a day, banging on warehouse doors, stuff like that, trying to find a job. Impossible. I ended up selling apples, and it wasn't easy. You know.
The panic is on.
Em um ano, 2,5 milhões de pessoas perderam o emprego.
Especially in New York City, there was nothing that struck the imagination more than seeing a soup line of 500 people. Then 2 days later, 1,000 people, the same line. And they kept on growing and growing till they went around the block.
Pessoas desempregadas entravam em desespero, vítimas de um processo que não podiam entender.
We haven't got no work, we can't get no work, we're looking for work. We can't get no work, but we will by someday in the future.
Como as pessoas tinham pouco para gastar e o comércio diminuíra, mais fábricas fecharam em vários países do mundo. Parecia que forças incessantes estavam causando isso, e os governos não podiam fazer nada para controlar. Na América do Sul, países como o Chile sofreram imediatamente, porque dependiam do comércio com os Estados Unidos. Os mineradores de cobre do Chile tinham prosperado em 1920. Mas os bons tempos tinham acabado. Fernando Libório tinha começado a trabalhar.
Cuando vino el crash en Estados Unidos, sencillamente no habían conocimiento de algo semejante. Como usted va andando por la calle y de repente le llega un golpe y queda aturdido. Porque eso estaba muy lejano para nosotros, Nueva York, muy lejos. Pero en cambio cuando a uno le dice el patrón que se termine el trabajo, entonces sencillamente ahí sí que hay impacto fuerte.
O cobre aumentou em 80% os lucros estrangeiros do Chile. Milhares trabalharam para extraí-lo do maior buraco do mundo feito pelo homem no deserto em Chuquicamata. Justo Ballesteros era um contratante para a firma de minério.
Con ese crash de Wall Street, ¿no? Sencillamente se cerraron fábricas en Estados Unidos, se dejó de comprar estaño, se dejó de comprar cobre, se dejó de comprar todas las materias primas que llevaban, que eran las que producían allá. Entonces aquí también vino esa paralización de compra y la crisis directamente, digamos, a toda la gente trabajadora. Y entonces, fracaso, quiebras y todo lo demás, una crisis.
Hernán Cortés. O colapso foi ainda mais devastador para os chilenos que produziam nitratos, transportados para fazendeiros do mundo todo como fertilizante.
El pan de nosotros eran las salitreras, pues, una seguridad para vivir, porque no había otro, ¿en qué otra cosa se iba a trabajar cuando la pampa era tan grande?
Toda a família de Claudina Montano Dias trabalhava com extração de nitrato.
Un día en diciembre, nosotros en nuestra casa, pues ya mi marido llegaba del trabajo, mira, me decía, fíjate que va a parar, me decía a la oficina. Así que tal fecha tenemos que irnos. De a poco iban repartiendo la gente. Y la gente humilde, ¿qué iba a hacer? Tomar su maletita y conformarse con lo que se presentaba. ¿A quién reclamaba uno? Tantos pueblos para el norte, todo eso quedaba abandonado, pueblos bonitos, pueblos grandes, todo quedaba abandonado. Esa fue la crisis del 30.
Milhares de mineradores desempregados seguiram para a capital, Santiago. O governo agora falido estava derrotado pelas dívidas. Fernando Libório estava melhor que a maioria. Ele tinha um lugar para ficar.
Entonces mi tía me llama en la mañana, me dice, ven a ver lo que pasa en la calle. Miramos nosotros por la ventana y hay gente que la toman de los pies y de esta parte y la tiran arriba del carretón. ¿Están borrachos? No, están muertos. La gente se moría de hambre.
A má situação do Chile repercutiu no mundo todo. O comércio entrou em colapso. Sem o cobre, nitrato ou qualquer outra carga para transportar, o comércio mercante ficou ocioso e os novos navios não eram necessários. A Grã-Bretanha tinha sido a maior construtora de navios do mundo. Cidades como Gerald, nordeste da Grã-Bretanha, eram totalmente dependentes da indústria.
I started working at Palmer Shipyard as a river catcher, hoping that would be there for life. But it didn't happen, because one afternoon, the foreman come round and says, "Con, you're finished tonight," just like that. So that was me fitting out. My case could be multiplied by hundreds. They're in work 1 minute, then the next minute, out. So I wasn't alone.
Os donos dos estaleiros mais antigos foram pagos para fechar para sempre. Assim, os mais novos teriam menos competição. Os guindastes duplos de Gerald foram derrubados enquanto a cidade assistia a tudo.
It was just part of your life. Honestly, there was some women with tears in their eyes, seeing them go down because they knew that was the finish. Once they came down, the yard was finished. They were a symbol. Hey? Once the symbol had gone, that's it, got out. Terrible day. Once the yard had closed, it was as though a blinking blanket had dropped over the town. And there was nothing they could do. We just hang around the streets.
3 de cada 5 trabalhadores de Gerald estavam agora desempregados. O governo dizia que o único jeito de acabar com o colapso era cortando os gastos públicos e esperando o que eles chamavam de recuperação natural. Em Chicago, os novos pobres arrancaram os blocos de madeira das ruas da cidade para usar como combustível. Em 1929, John Tackman tinha chegado da Suécia, esperando encontrar a terra da oportunidade.
They saw the misery all around me. Thousands or tens of thousands of people evicted from their apartments, whole families, and all people sitting in rocking chairs and chairs on the sidewalk, nowhere to go, no food. They could starve to death because there was no social security. There was no unemployment insurance. There was nothing.
Once I built a railroad, I made it run, made it race against time.
No mundo todo, os governos diziam a mesma coisa, que eles podiam fazer muito pouco para aliviar o sofrimento do povo.
Brother, can you spare a dime?
Na América, os barracos dos desempregados eram chamados de Hoover Villas, em uma homenagem irônica a Herbert Hoover, presidente durante os 3 primeiros anos do colapso. Ele disse aos americanos que eles deveriam deixar a crise seguir seu curso natural e apertar os cintos. A mesma sabedoria convencional foi ensinada a Robert Nathan, que estudava economia.
The professor said, business cycles are part of the capitalistic system. And I remember one day he reached in his pocket and he pulled out a rubber band and just had it handy, and he took this rubber band and held it in his hand and he pulled it way out and said, boom. Then he let go of the hand and it collapsed back very rapidly, collapsing down, and he said, bust. And he said, boom and bust, an inherent ingredient of the free enterprise system. To me, this made no sense at all, because I saw that here were the plants closed down, here were the people wanting to work, here were the people that couldn't afford to buy anything, and so that you had a kind of a vicious circle operating, and nobody was prepared or willing to undertake major measures.
Enquanto os governos do Ocidente prendiam-se ao fato de que não tinham nenhum domínio sobre a economia mundial, os cidadãos ficavam cada vez mais impacientes. Alguns governos foram abalados e outros foram derrubados. A perplexidade se transformou em ódio.
When I came down the street and saw my mother on that soup line, I knew damn well that something was haywire. Something is rotten with the whole system. I became receptive to listening to a soapbox speaker after that. The one that made you interested was the communists. There's nothing to see a speaker. Almost on every corner, pounding away against the system. This is the result. This is what's happening. Your people are in soup lines. Your people are begging for clothing. You can't pay the rent. The furniture is being thrown out on the street. This is the result of capitalism gone bananas. And the only way we're going to reconcile it is dump capitalism.
Muitas pessoas foram atraídas por alternativas para a democracia capitalista que surgiu nos anos 30. Tanto o fascismo quanto o comunismo alegavam que não havia necessidade para o desemprego em massa. Comparado a isso, os esforços dos governos democráticos da América e Grã-Bretanha pareciam insignificantes.
What could they come up with? Nothing. They couldn't come up with it because they all followed the old capitalist system. But it was a new world and politics was changing. And over the years, politics became more authoritarian and then they was changing. And you was either going to join with that sort of thing, or that modern trend of politics, or drop behind.
Sid Bailey acreditou na solução da direita. Ele se filiou ao Sindicato Britânico dos Fascistas. Seu líder, Oswald Mosley, tinha renunciado como ministro júnior em 1930, quando seu plano radical para solucionar o desemprego por intervenção do governo foi rejeitado.
He was a far better speaker than Mussolini, Hitler, Goebbels, or any of them days. He was the greatest speaker in the world at that particular time. I can't put it into words because you only have to live for it to know what it was like. People were standing up and the ovation would be terrific. Terrific. It took you 2 or 3, 5 minutes to quiet the people to stop the applause before he spoke.
And I claim that in the ranks of our black shirt legions march the mighty ghosts of England's past, and their strong arms around us, and their voices echo down the ages, saying onward.
Apesar do clamor da esquerda e da direita por uma atitude, o governo britânico não se desviou da sua linha econômica ortodoxa. Outros países continuaram a apelar para os extremos políticos. Mas havia um país onde a demanda pela intervenção veio do centro. Na Suécia, o crescente movimento sociodemocrata fez campanha contra a falta de ação do governo sueco.
Socialdemokraterna, jag anslöt mig till Socialdemokratiska partiet just på grund av att jag såg att man gjorde. Jag såg ju denna arbetslöshet som något sånt fruktansvärt gissel. Så att jag förstod ju att här gällde ju att göra allt för att få bort detta gissel från svenska folket.
O apuro financeiro da Suécia não era inevitável, disseram os sociodemocratas, se o governo gastasse mais dinheiro público para criar empregos. Na eleição de 1932, os sociodemokrater chegaram ao poder com Per Albin Hansson. Os suecos agora tinham um homem que afirmava ser um primeiro-ministro do povo e ia para o gabinete de bonde. Os suecos receberam um bom salário para reconstruir seu país. Havia dinheiro do governo para ajudar pescadores e trabalhadores das fábricas. Os sociodemokratas não tentaram equilibrar os livros do país.
Förslagen att det var inte tal om att man skulle dra in på saker och ting, utan det var frågan om att man skulle göra någonting utav istället. Man skulle pusha det hela framför sig istället för att gå bakåt. Och det tycker jag är det riktiga som ett parti ska arbeta på.
Aos suecos foi prometido sua cultura, um lar para o povo onde os fracos seriam protegidos. Visitantes estrangeiros foram estudar o meio-termo sueco e um governo que não era fascista nem comunista, mas que afirmava que o objetivo era colocar as pessoas de volta ao trabalho.
Have a 3 cheers for the bonus that we're going to get.
Em nenhum lugar o contraste foi maior do que nos Estados Unidos. Em 1932, Washington estava em estado de sítio. O prédio do Capitólio foi cercado por veteranos da Primeira Guerra Mundial desempregados que vieram do país todo. Seus únicos bens eram certificados de bônus que ganharam ao deixar o exército, os quais prometiam uma soma em dinheiro anos mais tarde. Eles queriam o pagamento agora.
I came to Washington to get my bonus, and I'm going to wait for it till I get it if I have to wait till 1945.
That brought you to Washington.
Want to beat the undertaker, spend the money before the undertaker gets it.
I know who's made this country worth living in. It's just you fellas. Look, makes me so damn mad a whole lot of people speak of you as tramps. By God, they didn't speak of you as tramps in 1917 and 18. No. Take it from me, this is the greatest demonstration of Americanism we've ever had. Pure Americanism.
O presidente Hoover teve que decidir o que fazer com os veteranos quando o Senado rejeitou seus pedidos. Os manifestantes permaneceram lá acampados no centro de Washington.
It's war, the greatest concentration of fighting troops in Washington since 1865.
I knew something was going to happen, that they might be attacked. And I had a press card, so I passed the police lines, and then I saw the soldiers advancing into the camp. And when confronted with this, the men all stood there and said, "Stand firm as long as you can." And they started throwing tear gas. I'd never seen anything like it. They systematically went down the line, burned up all the tents and all the possessions of the people there. I was thinking of Herbert Hoover when this happened, because his election was in 3 months. I thought this would be the finish of Hoover.
The orders of the president must be obeyed, and the roaring flames sound the death knell to the fantastic bonus army. In the shadow of the beautiful dome of the capital of the United States of America.
Naquele verão, os americanos se agruparam em função de uma nova mensagem.
This is more than a political campaign. It is a call to arms. Give me your help, not to win votes alone, but to win in this crusade to restore America to its own people.
Roosevelt concorria à presidência dizendo que a depressão poderia ser vencida.
What's our campaign slogan, Sissy?
Happy days are here again.
Good, that's right.
O povo americano deu a Roosevelt uma vitória esmagadora e fez dele seu primeiro presidente democrata em 12 anos. Ele oferecia um novo estilo e uma nova confiança.
Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed effort to convert retreat into advance.
I was there at the inaugural. He had a great voice and he had a way of putting words together that made you feel this man means something to me. This man is going to help us. But what he would do, I didn't have much of a sense about it all. I don't think anybody did, but it was a great speech.
I shall ask the Congress for the one remaining instrument to meet the crisis. Broad executive power to wage a war against the emergency as great as the power that would be given to me if we were in fact invaded by a foreign foe.
Quando ele assumiu em 1933, o país ainda estava em plena crise da depressão. 4 de cada 10 trabalhadores industriais estavam desempregados. Embora a situação fosse bem desagradável, o novo ano era irreprimível. Roosevelt descreveu seu programa como um experimento audaz e persistente. A mensagem foi expressa em 2 palavras. Ele a chamava de New Deal.
Get it with it. Here is on. Down on the bottom, folks is humming it. Those factory wheels are humming it. 10 million people are drumming it now.
Em questão de semanas, Washington foi transformada pelo ritmo do New Deal. Novas firmas foram criadas, novos funcionários contratados. A administração tentou iniciar uma recuperação rápida e atacar o desemprego. 16 medidas maiores foram estabelecidas diante do Congresso e aprovadas nos primeiros 100 dias. Houve ajuda imediata para os fazendeiros americanos que deparavam-se com a falência. A carne estava cotada em 5 centavos por quilo. A família Stubb sofreu com os preços baixos em sua fazenda em Oklahoma.
President Roosevelt come on the scene, and what he done was that he would pay the farmers for a cow because there were so many cattle and not enough hay nor water, and so he would pay like $30, $35 for a cow, and they'd kill them. And they'd pick a good one, and then they would take it to the canning factory, and they would can this meat. And then they would give it to us, you know, not always your cow or anything, and we'd get so many cans of this meat. When you don't have food and somebody gives you food, what else could you think but that he cared for you?
New York City, federal jobs for thousands at the rate of 100 a minute.
138 Main Street, New York, tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Municipal Building, Borough Hall, Brooklyn, tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock.
As pessoas voltaram a trabalhar de uma maneira que beneficiaria o país por inteiro.
My wife told me, where you going, 12 o'clock? I said, I got to get on that line and get a ticket, and here I am, so if you see me, I'm not lying.
I've been out of work for 3 years. I have a wife and 3 children, and I'm tickled to death to have a job.
WVA, WVA, 3 little letters that make life okay. WVA.
A administração para o progresso do trabalhador foi uma de muitas firmas novas do governo. Havia empregos nas estradas e em prédios públicos. Homens eram mandados para áreas remotas para fazer trabalho de manutenção. O guarda florestal temporário Mansell Milligan tinha sido professor de ginásio até que sua cidade no Tennessee ficou sem dinheiro.
I just wasn't being paid. I couldn't get any money. So when I got that job for $2 a day, a dollar bill looked as big as a saddle blanket. That's how big it looked. Because there wasn't any money moving in the country.
I need not emphasize for you what this period of work and healthful surroundings with pure air, sunshine, and adequate food has done for these young men, giving them confidence in themselves.
It made all the difference in the world. I was a different fella. I had a bright outlook. I felt like the country was going to get back on its feet and everybody was going to be successful. I knew it wouldn't come overnight.
Scene, a typical American home. Time, the hour for another fireside chat by the president.
Johnny, wait past your bedtime.
Hey, what time is it?
Say, Pop, could I have a nickel?
A nickel? Don't bother me. Get on to bed. I want to hear President Roosevelt.
Roosevelt foi o primeiro presidente a usar o novo poder do rádio de forma frequente.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
I stand or fall by my refusal to accept as a necessary condition of our future a permanent army of unemployed. I do not want to think that it is the destiny of any American to remain permanently on relief roll.
I heard the President speak over the radio. It gave me such a thrill. I'm sure everyone must feel the greatest confidence that what he has done and what he is going to do for the country is for the very best of everyone.
Fear is vanishing, and confidence is growing on every side.
Hey, Pop, hold off that nickel now.
Nickel? You come down here, son. Here's $1 for you.
A ajuda do New Deal era tremendamente necessária nos Estados do Sul. O sustento de 8 milhões dependia de uma safra, algodão, e os preços tinham caído 70% desde o último desastre financeiro.
We had nothing. We didn't have a minimum wage. We didn't have Social Security. We didn't have a house to live in of our own. So we were in a land that grew cotton to make the best clothes in the world. We couldn't wear them because we couldn't buy them.
Mas os arrendatários e trabalhadores das fazendas estavam confusos com o esquema do governo em tentar elevar os preços destruindo as safras. Eles achavam que os proprietários seriam beneficiados.
Gavin, crop's looking fine now, boy. I think you'll come around all right.
Yes, I sure do think so, Cap.
You did what you was told to do on the farm. The owner come out and said, well, you know, we got to ply up every third row of this cotton because the government said we got too much. And you just go out there and leave 2 rows and ply up 1. You wouldn't explain nothing about the pay of everything. It was quite discouraging to think, well, I made this, now I got to ply it up.
Quase metade das plantações de algodão foram lavradas ou ficaram sem cultivo. Mas a compensação do governo para isso não alcançou os arrendatários e trabalhadores. Muitos que protestaram foram desapropriados. Nem o New Deal poderia ajudar a luta dos fazendeiros do meio oeste, cuja pobreza tinha se tornado pior pelos anos da seca e tempestades de poeira. A família Stoops decidiu que era hora de sair de Oklahoma quando seu lago secou.
My daddy, he had an old truck, and he fixed that old truck up, and there was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There was 9 of us that come in that truck.
Quase 1 milhão de pessoas viajou para o oeste.
They tied everything on the cars. There would be tubs. There would be chicken coops with a few chickens in them. And everything that you could imagine, they would have them tied on these cars. And people would beg, borrow, steel or anything, just get enough gas to get a few more miles.
No final da jornada, os migrantes não encontraram a terra prometida dos seus sonhos. A Califórnia ainda estava em plena depressão. O influxo de imigrantes não foi bem recebido, mas o New Deal ajudou os estúpidos a reestruturarem suas vidas.
My husband was working on the WPA, and he would have enough money every month after buying the groceries and everything to buy one plank. We started in with a floor and 4 planks up. They were foot planks. And every month, by then, he'd buy another plank to go all around the house. And not know how many months it taken before that we got to the top.
O projeto mais ambicioso do New Deal foi criado para recriar toda uma região, levando trabalho, água e energia para algumas das mais pobres regiões da América. A jurisdição do Vale do Tennessee construiu uma série de barragens para gerar eletricidade para 7 estados. A vasta escala do plano mostrou que o planejamento do estado poderia coexistir com o capitalismo.
We didn't have any electricity. People didn't know what it was, to be frank with you.
Para Mansell Milligan, a jurisdição do Vale do Tennessee também significou emprego permanente na barragem de Pickwick.
Instead of working 3 shifts, they worked 4 shifts, and that gave a lot more people a job. Instead of working 8 hours, they worked them 6 hours. The money that the TVA spent, it trickled out all over the United States. They bought the copper wire from somewhere, and the people who mined the copper, they got a job. Well, I went to work at Pickwick. I worked 6 days a week, and I hired somebody to haul and chop my wood. I hired somebody to paint the house if it needed. So everybody got a piece of the pie. Mr. Roosevelt was big enough to initiate that, and he actually saved the country.
It was a marvelous reception which the King received in South Wales on his visit to the long-suffering communities of that depressed area.
Para os desempregados britânicos não havia grandes planos de trabalhos públicos e nenhum New Deal. Ao invés da ação do governo, eles receberam a solidariedade real.
The blackest spot of all in his visit was at Dallas, where there were once 9,000 men at work in the steel factory. But His Majesty brought hope to replace despair. Something will be done, the King said.
Mas nada foi feito. Na Grã-Bretanha, o desemprego em massa ainda era visto como um ato de Deus. Para despertar atenção para a divisão entre as áreas em depressão e as áreas do sul mais prósperas, os desempregados de Jarrow planejaram uma manifestação em Londres em 1936.
Representations had been made previously, but they were all of no avail. I mean, nobody wants to go marching down to London. That was a last resort. I had to do something, because the government was turning deaf ear to all that place.
The Jarrow petition, a petition to the government for work for the thousands of unemployed in what is probably the hardest hit town in Britain, is being carried to London by the 200 members of the Jarrow Crusade.
Every town we went to, you got a good feed, you got a bottle of beer. The people, every place you went into, they were good.
London at last. The Jarrow Crusaders must be glad to have reached the end of their 300-mile trek despite the rain in town.
Edgware Road, from there, well, they started to cry. The people watching me, because their heavens opened out. I was soaking. We got the cloaks on, you know, and you see the people crying.
Oh, it was a great feeling. Oh, they were really proud. It was chuckling down the rain, all that the marks on. Eh? But oh, our spirits was high. champion.
We got torn down. We got a cup of tea, so give her a cup of tea. When he got torn down in the House of Commons, that was it. You knew you were finished.
Mas os estaleiros não foram o ideal por muito tempo. O governo não reagiu aos manifestantes. Entretanto, ele tinha que responder ao que estava acontecendo agora, na Europa. Hitler estava construindo uma nova marinha e começando a ganhar território. O lançamento de navios alemães acelerou o rearmamento britânico. Boas notícias para o Nordeste.
Only one thing lifted it. That was the war. If it hadn't been for the war, Lord knows what would happen to Jarrah.
13 years ago, Britain launched her last battleship, the Rodney. Hopefully, we thought she might be the last we should ever need to launch. Today, those dreams lie shattered. The King George V and the greater ships that are to come after her represent the new spirit of Britain.
A sombra da guerra estava crescendo sobre milhões de vidas, mas foi o rearmamento que trouxe de volta os envelopes de pagamento. Os grandes poderes estavam mais uma vez interessados no que o Chile tinha a oferecer. Numa guerra futura, qualquer artilharia, alemã, britânica, japonesa ou americana, precisaria de cobre.
Todos los países querían cobre, todos. Y sencillamente trabajaba las 24 horas, 3 guardias de 8 horas cada una, así que Chuquicamata no paraba un momento de explotar. Faltó gente en Chuquicamata. Trajeron gente de Bolivia, de Cochabamba, que se llamaban enganches. Entonces esa gente se traía como vigilados, como traer animales, y los entregaban ahí a trabajar. Y ahí quedaban trabajando.
E agora o nitrato do deserto chileno era procurado novamente. Não para fertilizantes, mas para explosivos.
De repente escuchamos un rumor que iban a volver a trabajar las salitreras. Nosotros nos encontramos que no hallábamos qué hacer de contentos. ¿Ve? Ya cuando la gente principiaron a llamar de a 10, de a 15, de así de a 20 obreros para irlos inscribiendo. Y mi marido en la primera salió.
O final dos anos 30 transformou-se num período de produção e comércio renovados. Um filme britânico refletiu a sensação que o colapso estava totalmente superado. Os últimos países a se rearmarem foram os últimos a saírem da depressão. Assim que a guerra começou, os americanos tinham garantia de recuperação.
There wasn't an industry that did not holler for men, no matter what it was. And you sit down and you think about it, that just a few years ago, which seemed like a few years ago, here you are going from ship to ship, bumming a job, begging for a job, going from soup line to soup line or this and that, wondering if you're ever going to find yourself in a position, again in America, where there's so many jobs that can't be filled. Yeah, and it's like a dream come true, basically.
Durante o período da guerra, todos eram necessários. Mas ao estarem na expectativa de um mundo melhor no pós-guerra, as pessoas esperavam que os políticos tinham aprendido uma lição. No futuro, eles esperariam que o governo criasse empregos para todos, trabalho garantido. O desemprego em massa não seria mais tolerado. As lembranças eram amargas demais.
Remember the procession of the old young men, from dole queue to corner and back again,
From the pinched, packed street to the peak of slag in the bite of the winter with a shovel and bag, with a drooping fag and turned-up collar, stamping for the cold at the ill-lit corner, dragging through the squalor with their hearts like lead, staring at the hunger and the shut pithead. Remember the procession of the old young men. It shall never happen again.